agreeable, or if you like, likable Borno State helmsman, Professor Babagana Zulum, elected to behave stealthily like the wolf on Thursday. The agriculture engineer went undercover and reportedly caught government officials red-handed extorting unsuspecting citizens between 8,000 and 10,000 naira for services meant to be free of charge. He was on the look-see trip with his health commissioner, Juliana Beatrice. According to the governor, quote, they have turned this government facility to a private hospital. This is why the center has been deserted by people who have no money, end quote. Mr. Governor, we share your rude awakening. But where do we go from here, Shote?
Good question. I think this is the second time the governor is coming in the news for springing surprises on. I think the other day he went to a polytechnic and sprung surprise on them. Mm-hmm. And my thinking that time still remains the same, that it's okay to do that once in a while, but what is the reporting system? You know, especially in a state that Borno State is one of the states that salaries are paid, civil servant salary are paid promptly. So these people have no reason to be extorting fellow Nigerians to start $8,000 to $10,000. I mean, sorry, 8 to 10,000 naira for what?
Malaria.
For malaria and so on. You know, they even said there's even only one doctor that they found there. You know, and there are supposed to be more doctors. I think before we came to the studio, you were the one saying that people get, no, I think it's, I don't know, you were saying people get, I did, yeah. The government, people get the government they deserve. Yeah. It appears now, this time around, it is that a government get the people they deserve. The people are the ones who are it is from us that we have those civil servants who are extorting fellow Nigerians. The same Nigerians will, at the IDP camp, people who have been thrown out of their homes, suffering people, the food that is being donated to them, IDP camp officials are selling to them. Some of the men are sleeping with the women before they can even give them what is their right.
But do you know, this thing is a two-way street. If you don't ask, if you don't give, the man who asks won't take. Yeah. Is it the blame is just this other guy, these guys?
You know, when you are desperate.
Okay, anything gives.
Look, sometime in July, I was rushed to the hospital around 2 a.m. July 7th, night. When we got to last week, that time the doctors were on strike. I imagine that the people who took me there, if they asked them for anything, they probably would have just given them, because I was gasping and it looks like anything could have happened. So when you are in a desperate situation, you will do whatever needs to be done at that moment. Okay. And I think, but like I said, the government or the government officials get the people they deserve, just as the people get the government, the civil servants they deserve.
Wale, you know, the other day, the Comptroller General of Immigration came to town and undercover and caught his men in the act. Between then and now, nothing has happened. So that's why the question is there. Mr. Governor, where do we go from here?
Well, I think the governor most likely acted based on information given to him.
Obviously. And
he wanted something like a first-hand information by going out to have a personal experience. I understand he disguised as a patient. But what is coming out of this is that people can go to any extent, you know, when you are talking about corruption. I never imagined that medical officials who are supposed to uphold ethics, medical ethics, you know, would descend to this level of exploiting the most vulnerable in the society. Ordinary people who don't have means of livelihood, who are down and at the point of death, and the next thing you can ask for them is money. So it's a reflection of the kind of decadence, you know, that faces our country. Borno State is just a mirror of what goes round all over the country, and almost every aspect. So when we are talking about corruption, it's not just about governors, not about senators, it's also about artisans. It's about people who call themselves professionals, medical officers, you know, collecting money, 10,000, 8,000 from poor people who have come to that office because that hospital because they could not afford to go to private hospitals. And the first thing you are asking them is to give you money. So you see, we are in a society that is driven by parochial interests. primitive accumulation of wealth. Everything that matters is just money. It's
avarice.
not about humanity. And great societies are driven not just by laws, but by morality.
Yeah.
You should have known that as a medical officer, somebody has, is with you, is down, and then you now ask him to give you money before you give.
Well,
it's very sad.
You are so corrupt to the extent that you are blind to the man before you.
Yeah.
Not recognizing the man is the governor of the state.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
You don't even, as a medical, you read papers every day. You read, so they deal with figures. They don't deal with human beings.
Oh, okay.
So they don't care. Drive. Whoever comes, they will have extorted the person before they even look at the face. So they shoot before they even look at the target. It's quite unfortunate. Yeah. And I think this, it reflects the kind of, the depth of,
at this
moral
point,
decay.
At this point, Wale and Lekon, we are not demarketing the country. We are reporting our country.
Yeah, sure.
Which is our business.
And it's unfortunate that we have to be discussing these kind of things.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in Nigeria, we had independence in 1960.
You
By
forgot
this time,
so shortly.
We should have gotten beyond these kinds of things, for people to be extorting. I'm sure you remember the Incorruptible Judge that we read in secondary school.
Oh, yeah.
That was in the 60s.
Oh, yes.
That means this thing has been with us for so long, and we are still here in 1961.
And sometimes you are wondering if the beautiful ones are not yet born.
Somebody said
or they never married their mama.
They never. That's what somebody told me, that they have not. Their mothers have not even been married.
That means we must wait.
Yes.
Well, we won't wait as we get to Jide Kolade Otitoju. He is in Abuja. Jide, I hear, is not ready for us. But then we must ask Mr. Governor again. It would be pleasant to me, Wale, if one of the suspects is brought to book.
Yeah, I think that is what we want to see. But the first of all, we need to commend the effort of the governor. This is not the first time. There was a time he was going around looking at the blocks they were using to build where people would live. And you just kick the block, it breaks into pieces. So I think a governor should not just sit down in his office and assume everything is okay. A governor should be a field officer. And I think that's the example we have seen in Zulum. And I'm not surprised. I think he has a fascinating history. Even when you look at the number of votes that he had, 1.7 million, is the highest margin, against his opponent, 66,000.
Oh, yeah.
And he's proven himself.
And,
every
and
time
the
you see
governor
the news
before
for
him
good
said
reasons.
he was happy he succeeded in.
Yeah, he's a great man. In fact, he has won the heart of so many Nigerians.
Oh, yeah.
You don't just sit down in your comfort and then you want to know how your government is built. You have to be on the feed. You have to feed the impulse of the people. If you don't do that, you will not be able to gauge actually what is going on in your state.
I hear Babajide Kolade Otitoju BKO is ready for us. Jide, you were not surprised the other day when we heard that two public servants, or is it civil now, between them had 301 plots in Abuja. And so you are asking, what more can a man ask for?
Well, the conduct of civil servants no longer shock us in our country. For Governor Zulum, this is not the first time he will find civil servants wanting. Some time ago, he went to an hospital, a specialist hospital in Borno State, and he discovered that only one doctor was on duty. And that doctor was even not a staff of the state government. He was working for an NGO at the time when the governor went there. So when he asked questions, what they said was that they didn't find the place safe. That was why they stayed away from work. He then said, if someone who works for a non-governmental organization will find that place safe and he was providing care for people, how much more people who get paid from taxpayers' money? So he is already used to making this kind of unscheduled visits to government establishments, and every time this is what happens, he gets disappointed. He went to Ramat Polytechnic the other day. That is the school where he was rector. He used to be rector of that school. He was actually headhunted as commissioner from that school. And he found that, despite the fact they had been releasing money for them to freshen up infrastructure in the school, that the school, that the machines at the school were already gathering dust and all that. So he felt that a polytechnic shouldn't be so improperly looked after, and he was very angry. He had to fire the rector of the school. So, and the entire management was suspended as well. So I can only encourage him to continue along this path, because people must earn the salaries that they get paid. You must earn your wages. You can't be earning salary from government and not paying attention to the work. And where the government decides to make healthcare free, civil servants have no business charging poor people money for cards and all kinds of things. It's really shameful. So the people behind this ought to be punished. I will encourage the governor to make sure that they pay for sabotaging the efforts of government to bring healthcare services to the poorest of the poor. Because people will turn back if you ask them to bring some money and they can't raise such monies. Of course, they are going to return home and probably die. So it's unfair for civil servants to behave in this manner.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, before we go over the story, you know, this is a country of religious people. Am I making sense here? Compassion has gone to the dogs.
Well, religion in Nigeria, what I see to a large extent, has become
a fad?
A fad. You know, if I want to look for a less elegant word, maybe I'll just say it's now culture. It has nothing to do with your spirituality. People go to church or go to mosque and say, oh, I'm a Muslim, or I'm a Christian, as a matter of, shall I say, it's a personal endorsement.
Yeah.
People tell you, oh, I'm a Christian. The same way somebody will say, oh, on my scout's oath, on my honor as a scout. That's the way it is. People are not spiritual. They don't seem to even understand what is going on. You see people, haven't you heard of pastors stealing offering in the church? You know?
We read and hear.
That's the pastors now, not just congregation now. The pastors now are the ones doing stuff.
We hear unspeakable things. Okay, Mr. Governor, we salute your courage. We want you to go the whole hog. The people must not just be punished, they must be seen to be punished.